Good to go. Give me the countdown.
3, 2, 1. You're live.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Yo Soy Neighborhoods Fresno. We're back on air after a little break due to my injury, so it's no one else's fault. But we're here and we're going to introduce Miss Ashley at Judging by a Book by Its Cover.
Judging by the cover.
Judging by the cover. I'll get it right. And she's located in Chinatown on F Street.
Yeah.
So let me give it to Ashley and she can tell you a little bit about herself.
Yeah. Hi, guys. My name is Ashley. I am the co-owner of Judging by the Cover. We are a bookstore located in Chinatown at 1029 F Street, right between Fresno and Tulare on F Street. And we are a bookstore with a mission. So we were founded with a mission to highlight and uplift historically marginalized voices within the publishing industry. So we look to only stock books that are by BIPOC, queer, immigrant, neurodivergent, feminist authors, writers, and publishers, which there are very few that fit that requirement. We also carry zines, chapbooks, and non-traditionally published books, which are much harder to find a space in traditional bookstores and places like Barnes & Noble or Amazon because they don't always follow the criteria of the book industry, but they are creating really cool content, so we carry it in our store.
Now, I have a quick question. Soroyan, isn't that you have Soroyan in your book and your store?
We do. Yeah, we carry local authors. So we have a focus on local. We have 3 bookshelves full of local authors and over 100 titles written by authors who were either born and raised in Fresno or are currently living here and writing here. We have a huge poetry section as well because there are so many Fresno poets. We have, like I said, over 100 titles from children's zines all the way up through like the Soroyan book that you're mentioning is a photo history of William Soroyan in Fresno. We do also carry several other books by the Armenian Heritage Foundation, which highlight like Armenian poets and history and playwrights.
So you're getting the flavor of the county because we have so many 130 languages spoken here. So
and that's a little bit why we decided to make our mission what it is. Like Fresno is one of the most diverse counties in the nation, and there are so many languages spoke, but we are the only bookstore within a 200-mile radius that carries non-English titles. We're the only bookstore in Fresno that carries Hmong titles, and the only bookstore in Fresno that carries Vietnamese titles. Which like those are our top 5 spoken languages here, so they should be more accessible, but they are hard to find, hard to source, but we kind of do the work to import them, to bring them in, and to make them available.
Yeah, you have an open door where you have a program. People can come, entertain, or talk about that.
So we do have an event space, and we work with authors, publishers, folks who are doing workshops to kind of make it available and make it more accessible to the community. One of the challenges with being in Chinatown is that a lot of folks either don't know where we're at or it's really ignored, often forgotten. So one of our goals is to help bring more traffic into Chinatown, let people know more about the community. And so having our event space and our community room kind of meets that part of the mission where we are allowing both authors to have their launches, but also just different community groups to hold space. We've done everything from like workshops on how to organize protests to like more fun, goofy stuff. Like we have a crochet club that goes in and knits. And then you guys also shoot there occasionally.
Right. And Yo Soy goes there too. So we don't have any live streaming. We only do it here at the foundation. That's the Fresno Area Hispanic Foundation. And once a month. But over at Ashley's, we do photography and whatnot.
Yeah.
That's it. So if you're open to that, it's every other Thursday.
Yeah.
And Ashley's been very gracious. She's a sweetheart. So I would suggest that come and talk to nice people, especially in Chinatown.
One thing that we also just started is Inclusive Yoga Collective Fresno. They're doing free yoga every fourth Thursday of the month. That's usually the last Thursday, and that's entirely free. It's an intro level yoga class, and we wanted to make that available because for a lot of folks, doing yoga is like outside of their price range.
And
So you can,
Pilates too. I mean,
yeah,
those are really good exercise.
yeah, and it's like it's an hour long. The first half of the class is like true stretch yoga, and then the end of the class is kind of like a wind down meditation. So
That's
we
really
also leave the store open a little bit later that day.
yeah. And hours you're open from
We're open
Tuesday,
Wednesday through
Wednesday.
Saturday from 12 to 6. And we are going to start doing one Sunday a month. One of the events that we do is Drive Story Hour. It's villains themed. So instead of having like a Disney princess do Story Hour, it's all the villains from the franchises. And so we are moving that to the last Sunday of the month on the request of some of our parents that can't do it with school now. So we'll be doing last Sunday Villain Story Hour. The next one is Nightmare Before Christmas themed. So if you are a fan and you want to get like Halloween kicked off early, that's going to be happening the last Saturday of September.
How fun is that? I mean, you have everything there, just about. And it's downtown Chinatown. I guess the easiest way to say it is down from the Chevron station, isn't it?
Yeah, if you're familiar with where the 99 exit is on Fresno Street, we're right around that corner on F Street.
It's easy to find because the firemen are across the street, right?
They're right behind us.
Yeah, I knew they were close by. Anyway, so why don't you share with us a little bit about your background? How did you get into books or a specialty area
Yeah.
and the publication and getting it authored and all that good stuff? Can you explain to me?
Yeah, so my background is in book publishing. I worked in the book publishing industry for 10 years, and I started as a warehouse manager and moved my way up into sales and marketing. I've worked almost every part of the industry during that 10 years. I also served on the board of directors for the Independent Book Publishers Association for 5 years. And so a lot of my background has been in the small and indie press side of the industry, where like trying to get through the Amazon algorithm or get stocked in the big box stores has been a challenge for a lot of those folks. In my time with the Independent Book Publishers Association, I was also the founding DEI chair. So a lot of the work that we did there was around the back end of publishing and why it's so hard for books written by BIPOC and queer authors to be seen. I served on the book industry study group, BISAC subject codes committee, which is like very, very deep into the back end of book publishing and like how books are categorized at every level. So BISAC codes decide like which categories can be purchased, which categories can be found in a library. And so I served on that committee for 4 years where we really kind of changed a lot of the ways that books are categorized, making books by Indigenous folks more accessible and making books in Spanish more easily searched.
Well, the thing is, it's like, for example, we talked about one that's a local author, and Amazon gives a little bit of a sale pitch. I've not been in publishing, so I was speaking with her. And the reality sets in is that Amazon is taking the bulk funds.
Yeah, like Amazon is a huge issue in the industry as a whole. I think one of the things that folks don't understand if you're just a book buyer is that Amazon does make books very easily to access by making them ship fast, by selling them way below market price. There's more to that too on the back end where they get specialty discounts from the big publishers and kind of screw over the little guys. But Amazon also makes it really easy to publish. But in doing so, they are also making it so that it's very hard for you to take your book off platform. And so one of the things that I have been working with local authors on is figuring out ways to publish outside of Amazon so that they can do more with their books, so that they can own their BISAC code, not just their copyright, so that they have like full access to their IP and it's not being uploaded into a system that is using it for AI, and so that they can more easily print different formats of a book. Amazon will usually give you a few copies of a paperback that you have to pay for, but there are other platforms that make it really easy for you to set up your book as a POD, a print on demand, and make it more accessible to like take to book fairs or sell to indie bookstores.
But Ashley, my point of all this and having to bring it up, she's the go-to person here in Fresno because knowing the background of how something is put online or filed is really where you get into the legalese, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't say that I'm the go-to person here. I can point you in the right direction, but there are also a lot of small presses that exist in Fresno. So we work with quite a few. One of them is Scrub J Press. They are a really a legacy brand here in Fresno that has existed for a very long time and is getting started again publishing. We also work with Familius, which if you're a children's book author, they are a small press out of Sanger, California that does children's parenting. There's also A is A, who is a more like indie guerrilla style press. If for somebody who's more interested in a zine or chapbook, they're the guys that can get that done.
Connection to sort that.
Yeah, I can be. I think, yeah, it definitely depends on what you're doing. I'm always open to having conversations with folks, but I don't, yeah, I'm not a publisher. So
You're not a publisher, but working right next to the publisher helps,
yeah.
right? So we're probably just about out of time. So we'll let Ashley let you know give them your website.
Yeah, so we're online all over. You can find us on all social medias at judgingbythecover.books. You'll see our little purple logo, and then we're online at judgingbythecoverbookstore.com. You can sign up for our newsletter to be updated on all of our events. And then we do also write on Medium. So if you are someone who wants to learn about like tips and tricks of publishing or what it's like to work in the book industry, we write articles about our experience in the book industry. Both myself and my partner have worked in the industry, him on the art side, me on the more sales, marketing, logistics side. And so once a week, we publish an article talking about our experience or things that we have learned in the book selling side.
Did you put them on your site? Is that where you put them?
They're on medium.com. So if you're, some of them are paid like membership articles and some of them are free. But if you find Judging by the Cover on Medium, you'll see all of our articles.
Oh, okay. And then you work a lot with the arts, Fresno Arts, and the writers. Those
so
couple of groups. So if they need a writer, they could come talk to you about it, depending on what type of book they would like to write, and you could probably send them the right direction, right?
There's a few writers groups that we network with. So if you're either a writer looking for a group or somebody looking for writers, we can give you a list of groups to reach out to. With the Arts Council, we have worked with Lit Hop, San Joaquin Valley Book Fest. So those are two local literary festivals. Lit Hop happens in the Tower District, and it's actually happening the third weekend of October. So put it on your calendar. Writers from all over California come and read some of the work that they've been working on. And it happens at different venues all across the Tower District.
That's great. I didn't even know. And those are writers from all over the country then.
Yeah, it depends on what the topics are. So submissions have already closed, but if you are a writer that's looking to network, it's a good place to be because people will be coming in from out of town. A lot of the Bay Area writers come in to participate in Lit Hop, and they're now in their 6th year, so they've been doing this for a while.
Also, publishers and writers. I mean, the ultimate goal that I know of, maybe it's changed in a few years, that is to get your publications all the way to New York because they are still central, right?
I mean, it definitely depends on what you're writing. So New York publishing is still the core of corporate publishing. So the big five publishers are all in New York, but there are a lot of small presses doing different things. The Midwest has become a big like publishing haven for radical books and like more punk style publishing. San Francisco is still a big one for more literary writing, things like poetry or like literary novels.
But like you said, we have a really strong poetry center. So a lot of those people, when you network with the poets, they can source you into different types of poets, correct?
Yeah, I mean the poets that are here in Fresno, there's a few different types. So there are like we are the home to California's Poet Laureate, which is more of that like traditional style venue for poetry. But we do also have like a huge slam poetry network that compete nationally with what they're doing. There's a couple of groups out of Fresno and Visalia that go on tour doing slam poetry competitions. If you're somebody who's more of a like reserved poet that wants to just write and not say it out loud, there are also some poetry writers groups that exist.
So there's so much here in Fresno people just don't realize, especially the writing.
Yeah.
And actually you have a lot of children's activities. Look on her website because I know this gal is busy every single day, including her day off. So pretty much she's out there peddling books, selling or showing people and helping children.
And that is kind of like one of the goals when we decided to start the bookstore. Like having been in the industry for so long, I was in sales, so I've been to every major city in the US, and they all have like beautiful indie bookstores. They bring in authors, they host events, and we have some really great used bookstores in Fresno, but we didn't have a true indie for a very long time. And so one of our goals was to create those spaces where we can have these types of events, where we can bring in authors from out of town, where we can do like debut novels. We did a like book release for the new Hunger Games, which was really fun, and it was done in a way that Barnes and Nobles can't do because we understand the community better than the big corporate chains. We bring in authors that Barnes and Noble might not look to because they're not big enough, but we know that we have the readership here because they're writing in Spanish or because they are telling a story about Hmong history.
So essentially, what I'm hearing is that we are a literary center, really, for this California. It sounds as though, by what you're describing, and unique books.
We
Pretty
do.
much.
We produce a lot of really big name writers. One of the things that would happen a lot when I was going out into the publishing space, like San Francisco, in New York, when I would tell people that I was from Fresno, they would name one of our Fresno poets, whether it was like Philip Levine or even William Saroyan, Gary Soto. There are really big name.
That's
Juan
interesting. They
Felipe.
know us.
Yeah, like there's people recognize that we have a lot of talent here, but we haven't had a lot of spaces to kind of display that talent. Fresno writers and like Fresno in general is very resourceful and scrappy. So for a long time, the poets have been gathering and reading and like talking about their books, but they didn't really have a bookstore to kind of be
Their center.
yeah, and there are like the one of the stores that one of our store mentors was the folks over at City Lights in San Francisco. They're a huge poetry store, and they kind of helped us get set up with some of the publishers that are selling poetry so that we get notified of things early. And they really, advised us on how to set up some more events and get things going.
This is the go-to girl. I don't care what she says. You have to go talk to her. And I'm getting the signal that we're too long. So give a little close and your website address and your phone number. I don't know if you pick up the phone, but at least take a text.
The best way to get a hold of us is going to be through Instagram, through our website. So we're at judgingbythecover.books on Instagram, and then at judgingbythecoverbookstore.com online. There's like a feature to text us if you have a question. So yeah, just find us online.
Great connection for the writers. And if you're thinking about writing, because I know a lot of retirees are doing that, talking about writing their book or their experiences in their particular profession. So if that's your purpose, come to Ashley, Chinatown, F Street. Remember that. You can hear what she knows.
I will also like one last plug. On September 13th, we are going to be having a Latina book festival at our store, and we will have the Chicano Writers Group there. So if you are somebody who is trying to write your biography or trying to write your memoir, and you are a Chicano writer, you'll definitely want to sit in on their session because they are going to be talking about how to get that done.
That's good. That's good. So you're really sourcing all the areas
Yeah.
that we have available, which somebody has done. At least a good 30
Just trying to make
years.
connections and bring
That's
everyone
it.
together.
Right. So I appreciate Ashley coming in today to share her background and where you can find her and how and the reason why you would want to come and see her. So thank you, Ashley. Appreciate it. And you can find us on F Street. I'm there every other Thursday, and Ashley is there, like she said, Wednesday through
Saturday.
it's Wednesday through Saturday.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And it's noon, so you don't have to get up early. So we are going to be doing this live streaming here at the Fresno Area Foundation on the corner of Stanislaus and Fulton Street, across from the old Wilson Theater. So you may want to just source Yo Soy if you want to do a live stream. We're a donation based nonprofit. We realize, as Ashley mentioned also, there are a lot of people that are just startups and they don't have the resources. And we're here to help. So call, try it. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.